First night out, had to do a bear hang. Slug. Yuck. Let's make some coffee. How did a slug get on that in the middle of the night? How did a slug get on that in the middle of the night? Are they daredevils? Scale the rope the whole way up the tree? There's like scale the rope the whole way up the tree. That's wild. Good morning. Slaughter had a successful first night in the woods. We ended up getting to Lost Pond Shelter. All kinds of ponds and rock shelters around here. But a gentleman I was leapfrogging with yesterday by the name of Todd, he and I ended up here together, so that made me feel safe. Todd doesn't know me. I don't know Todd. False sense of security. But anyways, it was a good night. I got into the hammock around 7, and I rolled out of it around 6:30. So I had a nice full night's sleep. I was sitting here having my coffee and getting ready to depart. Trying to decide what my goal is for today because I'm feeling a little rough. I think I pushed it a little bit too much yesterday. But I wasn't ready to stop when I got to the place that I was going to stop yesterday. It was like lunch and I wanted to keep going. So I did, and here we are. But I've got a shelter option about 11 miles down the trail and then another one 16 miles, which was my goal for tomorrow. So if I get that far, I'll be a full day ahead of schedule. Not that matters, but that does mean I could take a 0. Anyway, so we'll just see. We'll see what my body lets me do today. And yeah, so I'm gonna down this coffee and hopefully go to the bathroom in the privy. And then hit the trail. So, on the trail, it's a little bit before 8. Moving a little slower, for sure. But I just take an Advil, so we'll see if I get a little pep in my step the further we go. But I'm trying to pay attention to how I'm walking, like my gait, I guess, instead of just kind of like flopping. I'm trying to be intentional, so I don't hurt myself. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. But you know, like when you get this like muscle tired, like you have to reactivate them, get them going again, get them pumping, right? And then they're like, oh, we understand the assignment, let's go. But right now they're like, you know, like coming out of their little cocoon. That's the phase we're in right now. But we're walking along a river and it sounds so lovely. I didn't update y'all on the critter count yesterday. So when I first started hiking, I was terrified that I would step on a snake, but I stepped on a snake yesterday, but it was a little baby something or other. I don't know. Wasn't a big deal. But I was terrified that I would be so consumed by looking for bears that I would not see the snakes. But it's quite the opposite. That's, you know, I'm looking at the trail like this is, oh, can I flip you around? How long does let me flip you around? Hold on, I'm gonna flip you around. I wouldn't know if there was a bear because I'm looking at the trail the entire time. Every once in a while I'll stop and I'll look around. If I hear something, I'll stop and look, but for the most part, I'm on snake watch, not bear watch.
But I do want to be on moose watch. That'd be wicked cool to see a moose, but also like from a distance. They're very large and in charge animals. But also, first time putting on the pack this morning, you know, you get it situated and then you feel all the bits on your body that it was rubbing against yesterday. But regardless, I'm so stinking happy to be out here. So I'm not quite a mile in, and I think my wool socks are too big, because I feel like my socks are sliding around on each other. And I have a pair of smart wool socks that I've had forever that I wore on the plane. Whoops. So I'm swapping those out to test my theory that my socks that I got are too big and they're just sliding around, because I feel it like on the arch of my foot. So this is a much tighter fit sock to sock. So we'll see if that's part of the problem. And if it is, then I'm gonna have to give me some smaller socks in Rutland. But we shall see. Whew. I just met two folks from Lynchburg, Virginia, out here. What are the odds? I walked by, I was like, good morning. They're like, where are you from? I said, Virginia. They said, we're from Virginia. I said, where? They said, Lynchburg. I said, Roanoke. He said, hell yeah. So, I think it's so funny, like, how big and how small the world is. A lot of rock hopping in Vermont. Keeps it interesting. Now we're moving with a little bit more quickness. Ooh, bog boards. Cruisy. Starting to feel pretty good. I don't know if that's just, you know, lubed up all the muscles and joints, or if the Advil is at peak performance. I've only got three Advil left. Ooh, that's enough to get me to Rutland if I need one a day. Hopefully I won't need one tomorrow morning, but who's to say? The foot saga continues. I'm going to, it's better, but the arches, inside of my arches, feel like they're blistering. And I can't get that leader, I don't know what he's called. He's like the guide from that movie, Happiness for Beginners, that like hiking movie. I can't get his voice out of my head. He's like, is that feeling hot? Stop and attend to it. Anyways, so that's what I'm gonna do. Also, while we're on the subject of that movie, Happiness for Beginners, that wardrobe is so unrealistic. They're wearing something different every day, not just like different shirt or pants. It's like a different puffy jacket. No way, Jose. No, like, that's silly. But it was in the script. You know, it is a lot quieter out here this time around. According to the AT hikers that were at the Green Mountain House my first night in Vermont, they said that we're in front of the bubble. So he's behind us, which means in about 40 some miles, the AT is going to split from the LT and I'll be really alone. Last summer when I was, but it's funny because I was here the same time last year. Like I literally started a day before I ended last year and the bubble was here. So I just think it's kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, I've only seen those two people who were packing up camp. Other than that, that's it. No one. But have a feeling that I'm going to catch up to Todd today because we were jumping around each other yesterday and I think we have the same shelter goal for tonight, mayhaps. So I suspect I'll catch up to him at lunchtime. I just crossed USFS 10. Boop. Use that privy. Love it when that works out. I wasn't able to go before I left camp, and y'all don't need to know about all my comings and goings and privies. But anyways, if you know, you know. You just love it when that works out. So it did. But there's a stream here, so got some water, and it's about 2 miles until the next shelter, which is where I've decided I'm going to stop and have some lunch, maybe, because it's, I don't even know what time it is. Still morning time. So 2 miles. It'll be like an hour and a half. So maybe I won't have lunch there. I don't know. We'll just see what the day brings. I don't need to worry about it. Let's not worry about it. This is what happens when you're hiking on like a local trail loop where there are many more people than just the AT and LT hikers. But I'm not complaining because we're cruising. All right, so 3 miles in on day 2, and I feel like I've got myself sorted out. I got my hiking poles adjusted correctly. I got Luco tape all over my feet. I switched out my socks, and I've got my DIY load lifters putting in work overtime. So I feel like I got my pack sorted. I feel like I got my poles sorted. I feel like I got my feet sorted. So, feeling pretty all right. I was a little nervous when I woke up this morning if I was just going to be absolutely wrecked yesterday going into camp. My right knee was revolting. So I was like, oh no, what if I get up and roll out of my hammock, and you know, it still feels the same. So I was really nervous about that. But so far so good. We're on a cruisy trail right now, being on this little rock pond loop thing. So I'm feeling like I worked out all the kinks yesterday, as one does on day 1. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Stopped and had lunch at Little Rock Pond Shelter. I don't know, I'm making up names at this point. But there's this lovely lake beside it. So stopped there, sat on a picnic table like a civilized hiker. had some lunch. Now I'm back at it. So we will see what the latter half of the day brings. It's 11 o'clock, or a little bit after 11, 5 miles. So it's either almost 6 miles or 11 miles. Ooh. About 7.5 miles in, and I've cured my knee. Well, I don't know about cure, but fixed it. Same difference, right? Took this little foam part of my stick and like rolled it, you know, like a foam roller. So maybe it's just tight, you know, like tight like a tiger. So feeling pretty good. Got about 3.5 miles to the shelter that I could stay at. But the next one's like 6 miles beyond that, I think. So we'll see how I feel. It's about 12:30 right now. So I'm still thinking I'm gonna get there way too early to call it a day. But we will see what my body has to say. I was just thinking about these little guys. Look at this one. Murdered muck duck on the trail. I was just thinking how I hadn't seen any of those yet. Well. This must be the rock garden. All right then. We are sitting on a log on the path to the Greenwall shelter. The bugs are out for blood today, so I have been wearing my hood up, which is a sun hoodie, but it's really great about keeping bugs out of your ear holes. So I've been doing that, and this shelter was the 11-mile option. It's 2 o'clock, so I think we can scoot on up the trail. So I'm sitting here, get myself a pep talk and having a snack, having some water, letting my body rest a little bit. So yeah, I gotta figure out how to space this and time this better. I mean, I know I could stealth camp anywhere if I wanted to, but I do like the convenience of shelter, if they have a bear box, if, you know, they have a privy, but also people are in shelters too, so it's kind of nice to have, you know, to socialize. I have seen a few people hiking Sobo today, some day hikers, I think I'm like in a like popular spot with like access. I don't know if it's popular, I just know there's like road access, so a couple people look like they've been just day hiking or whatnot. So yeah, not a lot of people out here. I'm gonna stay here for 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna muster the energy and courage to go. What are the odds? What? Just under 3 left to go. I ran into a gentleman who was doing trail magic, which was exciting. That was my first trail magic experience on the long trail. Was it? I mean, this time. I can't remember if I did it the last time. there's some North Adams. That didn't count. That is the AT. Yeah, so I had myself a bag of chips, Gatorade, and a cookie. So, got the last little boost I need to get the rest of the way. Today was difficult. The train, I think yesterday was much more difficult, but today I'm having the day 2. What the heck am I doing out here? Inner monologue. Harry, I'm coming up. That is the end of day 2. Ended up doing 16 miles, so 1.2 more than yesterday. I had to talk myself into doing the final 5, and then there was a lot of talking to get through it. Today was a difficult mental day. I remember this last year when I was out with my dad doing the first part of the long trail and he was on the AT. Day 2, I was like, what am I doing out here? What am I doing out here? What am I doing out here? But I remember I didn't feel that way on day 3. So hopefully tomorrow I'm going to wake up feeling so glorious. My knees still, I'm a little bit concerned about that. But we'll see. It was feeling good towards the end of the day. So hopefully it is feeling good in the morning. Ended up staying at the Minerva Hinchey shelter. There's 2 people here. Well, 3 people. One guy's down like where the old shelter was and the water source is. I think they moved the shelter. It used to be on private property and now it's not. So it's like weird because everything's scattered, like the what's it called? Privy in the water in the shelter. But 2 people here, Brightside, who I stayed with at Green Mountain House Hostel, and then Butter, who is a young whippersnapper who does like 30-some mile days. Absolutely wild. So he started at Manchester Center today and got here. But anyways, overall it was a tough day mentally and physically, so trying to decide what's going to happen tomorrow. I have I think it's like 9.8 to a shelter, or like 14. But there's like 2 shelters, 14 miles, 14.5, 14.7. But like the comments on Far Out are very questionable. So let's see what happens.